Well, Elon Musk and Donald Trump want to send you a check for $5,000 as part of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency's tax savings that they are finding as they are going through and cutting waste and unnecessary spending in our federal government. Now, I want to break down these numbers in today's video so you can understand how they're thinking about this, where the numbers coming from, and how do we really get at $5,000. Then I want to talk about the politics about this and whether this is actually going to happen. I'm Matt Sorensen. Let's build wealth. All right, let's break down how they're getting this $5,000 number. Now, the first thing is Trump said they are taking into consideration of sending taxpayers up to 20% of the savings that they are finding in cutting unnecessary spend and waste in the federal government. Now, they have also determined that there is $2 trillion in waste that they think they're going to be able to find. So let's talk about how this number of $5,000 can actually be a reality. All right, now here's how they're coming up with that. We know they want to give 20% back to taxpayers, those actually paying tax into the federal government. They've also said, we think there is $2 trillion in waste. Now, 20% of $2 trillion is $400 billion. Now, $400 billion divided by the number of net taxpayers in the US, which is 79 million taxpayers that are actually paying money into the federal government, that gives us a total of $5,063. That is how they're getting at the $5,000 DOGE dividend checks to those who are paying in to the federal government with their taxes. Now, Trump has also said they would take another $400 billion of that $2 trillion in savings to pay down the national debt. The others are going to be savings that are probably going to come in tax savings and the new budget proposals if, again, they can get these savings and cut that waste. DOGE claims they have already saved $55 billion in spending cuts and waste that they have already found. That number has not been verified, but that has been reported by DOGE on what they have found so far. DOGE has came under a lot of criticism from people on the left, and of course people on the right are loving it. This has been a contentious issue for many of Americans. And I think what Trump's trying to do here, and Musk, of course, is they're trying to build public support for all these government cuts by saying we're sending 20% of the savings back to you in a stimulus type check that many Americans were familiar with under COVID. Now, here's a couple of realities I want to make sure everyone understands going to happen here. If all this money does go back, what are we going to have? Inflation. Okay, there's going to be more money going back to taxpayers from the government, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not against that. I'm just saying some of the realities here. Last time we did stimulus checks, what came right behind it? Inflation and higher rates. Now, a lot of people are hoping the Fed is going to lower rates. Is that likely to happen? Not if the government's cutting these DOGE dividend checks, which are similar to a stimulus check. They just happen to be from government savings. Now, there is, of course, a distinction here on these dividend checks versus stimulus checks. Stimulus checks, the government was printing money. The DOGE dividend checks, on the other hand, are savings that are being paid back to taxpayers. But I do think it's going to stimulate the economy. Again, a good thing, but also likely can lead to inflation, which leads to rates being higher for longer. Now, there's been a lot of criticism from the cuts DOGE's make, particularly the federal workforce and federal programs that people believe in. There's definitely been some waste that they found that is undisputable. So I realize there's some different opinions here, but I want to know what you think about this, where you think these DOGE dividend checks will become a reality and whether what DOGE is doing is helpful for our economy and the American people. Now, I hope you found this video to be helpful about the DOGE dividend checks. Please make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I've got strategies and tips on how to save taxes, protect your assets, and build wealth. I'm Matt Sorensen. We'll see you next time.